Chapter 5. Death Action Plan. An out-of-body researcher, William Buhlman, presented in his book, Adventures in the Afterlife, what he felt was an important message about death preparation. He called it to create an action plan for your enlightened spiritual transition. Not what was to happen with our bodies or stuff after we die, but how we want the week or few days before our death to be set up, assuming we have some foreknowledge of it and are not hit by a bus and killed instantly. He asked, what do I want around me as I am dying? What sort of music? What sort of words? Who are the people I trust to have around to help with the process? And how to make the space, either at home or in the hospital, a sacred space. He presented a set of affirmations to create the clear mental focus heading into the after-death state. He prepared a personal CD of looping reminder suggestions that was to be played on the days prior, a real mantra coming from himself, so that these intentions can be welded to his consciousness and soul on the transition. Granted, his were much cheerier and upbeat than ours likely will be. He fell on the side of the after-death state being a great place. We might create affirmations such as, I am free and sovereign, stay away from the white light, return home, I will not return to planet crazy. You get the idea. My suggestion would be to keep them as positive as possible. Focus on where you want to go and not what you don't want. I think this is a valuable tool to have ready as a direction or intent as the death event approaches. The Nag Hammadi chapter, Apocryphon of James, tells us that we will need to remind the archons that we know we are not a material form, that we come from the pleroma, the true oneness, and that this is our home. Knowing this and telling them is a reminder to the demiurge archons that they are not from the pleroma, and as such they have no power to keep you away from it. This could also be part of the CD tape or a sheet of paper to have someone read if no electricity or CD players are available. What about things in the hospital room or your bedroom if you're going through the process at your house? Are there paintings or objects you might want to have in there? Music to be played? Memories to be reminded of? This is your experience, and it should be created just for you, the way you want it to be. What better moment to consciously set up than the hours and days directly before your death? The question becomes, what is it you want? Not for comfort, we are not interested in comfort, but what is going to help you exit the cave for good, to leave the matrix behind and never again be in the insanity? How do we move towards sanity as we die? How do you want to have your final moments ready to exit the cave? Create your own action plan. Let a close family member or friend know about it, and ask them to help to make this happen when the event does approach. This is one of the best suggestions that I have come across in many years, and is something I will be doing once the writing of this book is complete. Chapter 6. The Recapitulation List. In the previous chapters, I mentioned the power of recapitulation. It will have a benefit for someone who performs it in the material world, as a way to regain lost energy from life. However, the main focus of a recapitulation is to prepare us for the after-death life review, so that nothing in it will surprise us. There are many different ways to see one's past honestly, in a way that gets to the deepest levels of what happened. To see events clearly, you must go beyond the regular parasitic mind and normal memory of events. Those are just the stories the mind has created for the past, while the recapitulation is designed to see the past in total stark honesty. It is a process that can only be pointed towards and suggested, for the best way for each person is highly individualistic and must be developed on their own. I present my own way of doing the recapitulation process in Appendix B of my book, Falling for Truth. The text is also available on my website. I have long recommended that people do a life review, one's entire life. And as mentioned in the previous chapters, that is so there is not one hidden area of our lives that we can be surprised by in the after-death review. The problem is that such a full review takes years. My first took approximately 4 years to complete. I am not sure people have that sort of time now, given our current bizarre world situation. Anyone who has not started a full life review may not get to complete one, given what challenges seem to be on the horizon for this reality. And so I'm no longer suggesting people do a complete life recapitulation, though if you feel compelled to do it, go get them. I now suggest people do one of two things: make their recapitulation list or make their album of memories. The recapitulation list is the first step on a complete recapitulation. It is used as a guide so that we can have an organization plan for the process, know who our next person is to review, and some of the events connected with that person. The creation of the list, however, is a type of recapitulation in itself. When I made my first list, which took around 3 months, it brought up all sorts of forgotten events and memories. And so, if you are going with the list, take time to do it completely. Give yourself 3 or 4 months and don't stop until it feels complete. The list should include everyone you have ever met. A server at McDonald's who took your order is not included, but it should be comprehensive. To help, you can find old address books, high school yearbooks, photographs, anything to jog your memory, with whom you interacted at various times of your life with. Where have you vacationed? Where did you work? Where did you go to eat dinners? Once you have a detailed list of names, it should be written backwards in time, with the most recent person you met first at the top of the list and your parents last. Now take that list and write 1 to 3 events that took place with that person. Some will be people you met only once, while others will have thousands of events potentially from which to choose. In the case of those people you spent a large amount of time with, choose 20 to 25. When the list and events are in place, read over the list slowly, name to name, event to event. Take your time. Lots of memories will begin to appear. Just sit with them. Go to the ones you are drawn to. When you come to names of those you have had sexual encounters with, take a bit of time to breathe and harmonize energy, as sexual encounters can create much misplaced and lost energy when the activity was not partaken with clear awareness. You are not doing this like a complete recapitulation. You are just reading over the list, having brief flashes as you go through, and see what else comes that you forgot. This practice will give you a start in preparing to release all the guilt, shame, or need for revenge from your past. You must be clear and calm during the after-death life review. The other recommendation would be to make what Carlos Castaneda called an album of memorable moments. This is to find events that happened to us, yet were also impersonal. It's not about the most important things, the best or worst things that occurred in our lives, but things that in some way touched the life of all humans, that are somehow universal, yet were personal at the same time. It takes quite a bit of work to sort through one's life to find these album moments. We always begin with what we think are our best and worst moments, but generally, they never fit the call of impersonal events. You can read the introduction chapter of Active Side of Infinity for more information on the making of one's album. One thing I do want to point out is that Castaneda referred to there being 2 types of warriors, those who are on a path of total truth. One group are known as stalkers, who work mostly with the material realm, and others are called dreamers, those who work mainly in alternate realities. The recapitulation is not as important for one who is a dreamer, as their focus is on the astral, and thus the physical form is far less solid. For the stalker, however, the recapitulation, along with the process known as not doing, are key elements for their practice. I mention this as someone who may be a classic dreamer might instantly know, I don't need to recap my life, and they would be correct. In a sense, they need to get in touch with their lives while they are in out-of-body experiences. Thus, the reader has to determine which type of one's material manifestation falls to determine how important this practice is or is not for them personally. The more time you put into this practice before the death moment comes, the more prepared you will be on the other side when the archonic beings try to guilt you with some type of event that was part of your past. But you are ready for it.